Hi, I'm Kelsey and this is Mia. In this video, we're going to prepare you to sharpen your reading comprehension skills before you get started on our weekly comprehension exercises. Are you ready? Let's go. At this point, you're ready to sharpen your reading skills. And how do you do that? Well, good readers recognize words and understand what they mean in the sentences or paragraphs where they're being used. Good readers also think about what they're reading while they're reading it, so that they can pick up on important details. Finally, good readers understand the main idea of a passage they've read. Let me explain. Let's read this passage. Jasmine swept Fitz up into her arms. At only 2 months old, Fitz was just a tiny ball of fur. However, his purr was loud enough to be heard all over the house. I just read all of those words to you, but there's more to reading than just recognizing the words and being able to say them. For example, let's look at the word swept. If that word was in a sentence that said, Jasmine swept the floor, it would mean something totally different. In this sentence, I understand that swept means that Jasmine picked Fitz up with a sweeping motion. You see, when you read words, you read them in context, which means within the sentences and paragraphs where they appear, and that context helps you understand their meanings. Now let's talk about thinking while you're reading. Your mind picks up on a lot of details, like the fact that Fitz is 2 months old, and that Fitz is tiny. Those details are written right there on the page. But you can also put your mind to work on details that are not directly stated. Fitz has fur, and Fitz can purr. What's something tiny and furry that purrs? Oh, I know. Fitz is a kitten. The words don't directly tell me that, but I can figure it out by thinking while I read. In this course, you'll be checking your reading comprehension skills on a regular basis. Your parent or teacher will set a schedule for you to work on these comprehension exercises. You'll be given a passage to read, kind of like the one we just read about Jasmine, and after you read, you'll answer 4 questions. Some questions are about vocabulary. That means the question will ask what a word means in the context of what you just read. Some questions will ask about the main idea. That's kind of like a sentence to sum up what the passage was about, like Jasmine's kitten purrs when she holds him. Or you might be asked about a good title for the passage, like Jasmine and her kitten. Some questions will ask about details that are written in the passage, like the fact that Jasmine's pet had fur. And other questions will ask you to use clues to figure out something that's not written in the passage, like the fact that Jasmine's pet was a cat. Here are some tips for getting the most out of your reading. First, read the passage carefully. Be sure you're thinking about what you're reading and not about something else. Next, as you read, try to imagine what you're reading about by making pictures in your mind or imagining that you can hear the sounds, smell the smells, and feel the textures. And finally, think beyond the words you're reading. Put clues together and figure things out that might not be written on the page. Ask yourself questions and make predictions about what's going to happen next. These are tips that all good readers know and practice. And here are some tips to help you after you've read the passage when you are answering the questions about it. First, read the questions carefully. Make sure you know what they're asking you. Next, be sure to read all the answer choices before you select one. And finally, go back and reread the passage if you need to. This isn't a memory test. It's fine to go back and look at the passage again. The goal is to work those reading comprehension muscles so that they'll get really strong. Let's review. You're going to be reading one passage at a time, and you'll answer 4 questions about the passage. Your goal is to become a strong reader by practicing your reading comprehension. All of the passages in Unit 1 are at about the same level of difficulty, so you'll get plenty of practice. Now you are ready to get started on your first reading comprehension exercise. Just remember all those tips for reading and answering questions, and of course, remember to always be clever. Hey.